welcome back to our Surviving Java Season 2. And today I'm at a little bit of a loss. Last episode I do believe we was doing some rare resource gathering, and this episode I want to work on the industrial area a bit, but the situation I keep on running into with the industrial area, let me get out of this view, is the bricks. I'm constantly having to go to the desert village area, and when the next part of the update comes out, 1.18, we're going to be wiping that desert village area, which means I'm not going to have a supply of bricks that I'm able to get hold of quite easily. And not to mention, I'd much rather the supply of bricks be closer to our, our actual industrial area. So I was thinking that we could sort of set up a villager trading area over there strictly for bricks, but in order for it to be self-sufficient, I'm also going to need a source of gathering emeralds in that area. And the easiest way that I can think about that with minimal crafting or effort is by just having a bunch of farmers with the pumpkin trades, which means we're going to need a industrial sized pumpkin farm. So that is the sort of road that's led me to today's project that I want to take on, is build an industrial sized pumpkin farm. And I was thinking around with like flying machine designs and like unique designs, but to be honest with you, I want it to be like maximum efficiency, considering I need a lot of pumpkins a lot of the time in order to continuously trade. And then if anything, the overflow of pumpkins can then just be fed through composters, I believe. I'm fairly sure pumpkins can be fed through composters in order to get bone meal for supplying any other farms that we may or may not have in the area. So what I was thinking is we'll just whack up the industrial size pumpkin farm. I do know that Sai has offered to come and help, and hopefully we could rope someone else into helping. So yeah, I'll probably just jump straight into a time lapse after I meet up with them two of us building the farm, and then once the farm's actually up and running, I will bring you back. So yeah, I guess I'll catch you back after this time lapse. Okay guys, so finally got it up and running. Pumpkin farm's now done, and it is now fully functional. By the way, I hate crawling in between these layers in order to get like the plants and stuff sort of done. But I did actually have a lot of help from Sai, as well as Sizzle came and actually over and helped us out with the building of it. And with the three of us, it didn't actually take overly long. I think it's like the total recording time that I've got is just shy of like 2.5 hours, and it's fairly big. It's like over half a shulker of pistons, over half a shulker of observers, as well as a full shulker of rail, like powered rail, in order to have the hopper minecarts. And then they're all leading to these minecart unloaders on the end, and the hopper chains are going to be all feeding together to the main sort of collection point on one of these sides. I'm assuming this side, considering this is where it is, but it does not obviously fit in too well with the cosmetics and the aesthetic look of the area with just the random layers of pumpkin farms. It is 6 layers in total. Is it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 layers in total, and it produces quite a lot very quickly in the test world, so I'm hoping that it does just as well. I'm fairly sure that there is a thing regarding the pumpkins and melon farms that you're meant to alternate the plants on each one that you plant in the spot. So it should be pumpkin melon, pumpkin melon, pumpkin melon, not as a split of the resources, but it's actually meant to increase the speed rate of them apparently. But I don't know, and to be honest with you, I don't want the hassle of melons clogging up our storage, our future storage, should I say. And I don't want to have to go through the hassle of crafting melon slices into melon blocks, because obviously we're using pistons for breaking the blocks, and with pumpkins it's just a straight trade with farmer villagers without any crafting or prior trades. Like initially over in our desert area, we're using librarians to buy glass off, and then we're changing glass into glass panes and selling glass panes to cartographers, and then from cartographers using the emeralds to buy the bricks off of the masons. It's a very long trade line, and it does take some time in order to get enough bricks in order to do that. But yeah, what I want to do now is actually put a shell around this, like a decent looking little build, and I've got some resources on me, and we've got a bunch of resources already here. I don't think any of these resources are the outer shell resources that we need, barring I do think we've got some andesite. Yeah, I made sure I restocked on andesite in this area. What are you? Oh, you're our secondary redstone box, and that's our iron box. Okay, yeah, so I just need to go grab some resources from our main sort of factory build over here at the moment, because, yep, once again, excuse me, guy. Once again, I've not got a storage area in this place, so I am actually currently working on a design in the test world for the main storage area. We do want some copper, and we're also going to want a whole heap of bricks, so yep, thank you, and thank you, and let's grab you, get rid of all the half slabs and whatnots. Okay, and then we're not going to want, actually we are probably going to want deep slate, because I'm fairly sure I want deep slate in the roof, just to make it look a little bit different from the other builds. I don't think we're using any acacia logs in this one, because we want to draw away from that. Oh, we've got blank concrete in here, which I didn't realise. I'll take you with me. You're just a bunch of random. You're random. I do know that we're going to need orange dye. So, have we got any pre-made orange? We got yellow. Oh my god. We've got reds. And we haven't got any too high yellows, but I'm fairly sure we got yellows in our ender chest. So what we'll do is we'll take the reds with us in order to make some orange dye, because I want orange glass for this project, and we've got so much glass over here already. I've got like over 10 shulkers of glass back at base, and that's purely because there's about 3 projects, like big projects I'm currently working on in the background, that require just an obscene amount of glass. So I do apologise for once again doing the whole screen spammage of opening shulkers. I know that it does mess with people's eyes, but I'm just trying to make sure I've got all of the resources on me that I need. So if it does affect you, please avert your eyes for a moment. Okay, I think that's pretty much all the resources that I do actually need. I'm fairly sure we may need normal stone. Have we got like normal bricks? We've got some stone bricks there. Wow, I don't believe I've not got any actual normal stone or bricks. What I will do before starting the time lapse, because the replay, I just said because twice in a row, because the replay mod obviously doesn't like you leaving and coming back to the same area whilst recording, because otherwise you then need to sort of track your player as you do, and yeah, it's just aggro. So I prefer making sure I've got all of the resources necessary before actually starting a build. And oh my god, I may actually just get some signs to put on these shulkers, because otherwise I'm going to get very, very confused as to what is where. Bones. I don't even know what you are. Okay, you're wood. You're andesite. Hopefully you're both andesite. Yep. And then we've got polished stone. Awesome. Or smooth stone, not polished stone, should I say. Okay, so let me go get the stone, and then we could jump into the time lapse of me hopefully building a decent looking build over this thing, to make it sort of fit in more, and yeah, and sort of tie the area together a little bit. I'm not going to work on pathways just yet this episode. That is going to be at a later date once I decide where I want my main storage building to be, So obviously wherever I have my main storage building is going to be what I want the main sort of pathways all sort of lead into. And I don't know if I want uniform pathways or a very free-form style of pathways. Yeah, pathways. But yeah, I'll catch you back after the time lapse, and hopefully you guys enjoy the build I come up with. Alright then guys, so the build is finally done. It didn't actually take nearly as long as I thought it was going to take. It was roughly total build time, we're including the actual farm itself. I think it worked out as about 5.5 to 6 hours, and I did have a massive amount of help from Sizzle and Sai in order to get the actual farm part up. And then it took around about another 4 hours after that in order to get the outer shell of the building done. And if we hop on down here, there are obviously a few little things I still got to do. This terrain here needs to be taken down until I think this level here. So all of this top end of the hill needs to go, as well as some terraforming around the edges of the actual build. Probably do some pathing blocks going around it to make it look just a little bit more warehousey. I am going to have to sort of get rid of this little pond that Sai was using to fish in. Yeah, so I was occasionally hopping over there to fish while I was laying rail in order to start doing the next area of the farm. And yeah, there's a couple of key features that I do like about this, and one is that we get to see the pumpkins dropping down the honey block elevator, and basically the minecarts come unload within the actual crane itself, and then the hopper chain runs it into auto firing dispensers, which then send it down this honey block elevator. And it's getting to night time, so I'm going to come back up here because I think I left my bed. Yes, I definitely did, and I don't think there's anyone else on to sleep the night away. Come on, let me sleep. Thank you. So this is actually around about 3 days after the last bit of recording since I finished the building, and I've not actually been on because I had a bit of dental work, and the dental work went awry and it left me in agony for about 3 days, and I've just started finally to feel moderately better, and this should hopefully be the day before the video is due to go out. And just as a heads up, from this point onwards I have just had Battlefield sort of release, so I don't know how regular. At the moment I'm releasing one video a week, just so it gives me enough time to do bigger projects, especially like this sort of build, because the building itself takes a bit of design, as well as the farm takes some time, resource gathering, and obviously doing little bits of maintenance and other stuff in between, including IRL stuff. So with Battlefield coming out, obviously I want to be playing that as well as playing Minecraft, so I will be trying to split my time, but it may mean that the episodes are a little bit few and far between. But nevertheless, I will continue playing, and I have still got numerous big projects on the go in the background on Minecraft. So whenever I do come on, I am not shy of things to do, as well as the update that's looming to come out within the next couple of weeks if the pre-release versions are anything to go by. But nevertheless, if we hop down here and we can see I've had actually words. My mouth is actually moving a lot quicker than my brain's thinking of the words to put out. So I've linked this up to a couple of composters because while building the outer shell, we did actually fill our temporary storage up, and obviously this is just going to have to be the case until I've sorted out where I want our future mini villager trading hall over here. It's not going to be a massive scale one, it's literally just going to be a trading hall to trade pumpkin for emeralds and emeralds for the bricks in order to continue the gorgeous builds on the outside as we have got here. Now, if you're thinking about the inspiration I'm going for when it comes to these outer shell buildings, I'm looking up real life images of Industrial Revolution, sort of mid to late 1800s Industrial Revolution buildings, and a lot of them use the brickworks with the cranes, and they use a lot of pipes. They've also got a lot of chimney stacks, which I am currently leaving out because I don't know how much impact the smoke plumes like I have got on the toxic fallout area. If I have numerous of them on every single build I put up, I imagine that, including the functionality of the farms, is going to start impacting not only my client side but the server side. So I'm being a little bit wary when it comes to the sort of animated stuff on the outside of the buildings. When it comes to transporting items, I am going to be looking for more unconventional and unique methods of being able to see the individual factories producing. Like we've got this one coming down the center here. This one we've not actually got any interactive stuff going on, but we have got the toxic fallout, and I will be having stuff going on within the walls of the factory once I've got round to building a storeroom and getting the all of the shulker mess that's actually now building up inside of there, sort of tidied up and put away in the storeroom. We've got a random bed over here, and that was a zombie coming for me. There's so many mobs around here. I've had to fight off like 3 or 4 different mini hordes while building this. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the way the buildings come out, and I'm quite happy with the way that the crane looks now that it's encompassing, because I didn't really like the minecart unloaders, like the hopper minecart unloaders that came out of the building, and I did initially try the pipe, and the pipe this far out didn't look overly good, especially if I wanted an animated pipe with stuff actually coming down it. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with the way it worked out, and I've gone for the dark oak rather than the acacia wood that I've gone for over there. That is purely to allow the pipe to stand out more against the brickwork on this one. Over there I had it mainly placed up against the grayscale of the blocks rather than the brickwork, so that way the pipes of the acacia stand out a lot more over there than they would have on this build. I did initially try acacia in a test world, and yeah, against the brickwork it really didn't look nice, and considering that I had the other sides with the copper strip coming down them. Yeah, and if you're wondering, I'm fairly sure that you noticed in the time lapse that I've done like a full layer of black concrete with the orange glass streaks. That is so that we can actually still see in the farms, and we get like a glimpse of the actual functionality of them. And then the black concrete is just to add a little bit more depth and texture for the big large vents that go up and down each side, just to make it look a little bit more industrial. And I'm pretty happy with the way it's turned out. The roof I went for completely different style than what I went with that one. That one's just a flat roof style. This one I actually looked up multiple different images of industrial builds, especially from the 1800s, and all of them had this weird little outer lip with a gutter line that came in this section here. So I'm assuming that the rainfall would then get washed to this gutter line, and the same would happen on the opposite side there, and then they would be dropped down either side, rather than having the guttering on the outer lip, which is what housing tends to have now, which is just the outer lip guttering rather than the guttering that goes on here. And I think that's mainly because the roofs on factory builds were so large back then that they had to use a different version or a different functionality. I didn't really look too much into it why the roofs were done that way, but just looking at it from where they've got the guttering running, that's the way that I'm assuming it's done, and that's the reason that I'm assuming it's done. But please do correct me if I am wrong, because I've spent enough time looking at old images. I did not want to read about factories. But yeah, that's enough talking for me. I know that I've chewed your ear off far too long than was intended in this clip. So hopefully you have enjoyed today's episode. It's another industrial build for this area. and I'm quite happy, and I'm looking forward to the way that this area progresses. In between this episode and next, when we next visit this area, I will have done the terraforming around that building, just so that way it's just another little bit of tedious grunt work that I can do that is not overly interesting to watch. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.